Hey, I'm Brian with Fisher's Off-Road, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to install the factory Yamaha front brush guard kit on our 2025 RMAX4 1000 XTR stretch. Now, this kit will also work on 2021 and newer RMAX2 and RMAX4. Let's go ahead and get this project started. First thing we're going to do is remove the front skid plate and retain the hardware. We're going to remove the fair lead mounting hardware, and then we're going to retain that as well. Next, we're going to disconnect the winch wiring at the winch housing. Now that we have that done, we're going to go ahead and free spool some winch line out. And then we'll go ahead and lock it back up. Next thing we'll do is remove the winch, and we're going to retain that hardware as well. We're going to go ahead and remove the stock brush guard. When you remove that stock brush guard, that's actually going to give you better access to your winch instead of trying to get it out while you still have the stock brush guard on there. I kind of go off script a little bit and do some of the stuff kind of just my own because I put one of these on my RMAX4 compact before, and I know there was just a couple things I did to make it a little bit easier than what the directions say. I still follow everything pretty much the way Yamaha says to do it, but I do a couple different things because number one, I'm installing it by myself. So up top here, they talk about having an assistant to help you lift the brush guard and install the frame bolts. So it's a little bit different. I'm doing it by myself. And I like to actually take off my hook off the winch cable and then remove it from the fair lead, and then I don't have anything kind of in the way. I like to kind of make it as easy as I can. I'll take off the decorative pieces here on the end. I'll take those off, and then this piece here on the top, you're going to want to pop that off as well. So then what I do once I get to this point, kind of set myself up. So I'll put the stock brush guard on here like this. That gives me enough room that I can put the brush guard on that we're putting on and also put the winch on when I'm done. You get your brush guard on there like that, and then I'll use the hardware that Yamaha gives you, the button head bolts. So if you just check your instructions as far as your hardware, you'll see which one of these button head bolts goes where. And it's only 6 of them, and there's 2 nuts, so it's not real difficult. And then your 4 button head bolts you'll put over here. 2 on this side, 2 on the other side. Now if you do have some help, you can sit it on the ground to put all these on, and it'd probably be easier, but it's really not that big of a deal to do it like this. The big button heads that you put in the front right here, these are 5mm Allen, and then this is a 14mm wrench that you're going to use to tighten these up. And then I'll come back through with my torque wrench and I'll set them to specs. These button head screws are at 12 pounds. These front ones are 35 pounds. Now that we're at this point, we're gonna go ahead and reinstall the winch and the fair lead mount bolts, and all that hardware you saved earlier is gonna come back into play here. Put our winch back in here. Now that we got our winch up in there, put our winch mount bolts back in here. Now we just got to put the fair lead on here. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the hook back on. Whenever you replace the hook or put a hook back on, what you want to do is you want to keep that cotter key to the back of the hook. You don't want to put the cotter key on the front of the hook where you're hooking up all the time, because you have a possibility of pulling it out of there. That's just a tip that Warren always gave me when I was putting winches on, or it's even in their manual for putting on a winch or a hook. You want to make sure you put the cotter key to the back of the hook. Now let's put the bumper back up in place. Get the heavy duty bolts back in there. We're going to hook our winch back up here. So when you put your decorative piece on the front of your brush guard, the stock brush guard, you're going to have to trim it over here on this end because it goes up on like that. So there's a line inside where you trim it. So you trim it on that line and it'll fall where it should. If you have like a base model that doesn't have this, then you won't even have to worry about that. But if you have a model that has these decorative guards on here, you're going to need to trim it. When you have it cut, it'll kind of look like that. And you put it on the front of your unit and it falls right in, right there. Doesn't look bad at all. Looks pretty good. So for our last cosmetic plate that goes in here, see that trim line on there? That gets trimmed out so you can put it in there. We trimmed out our center decorative plate here that goes over the winch. And another thing I noticed before I even got into all this, I had the fair lead upside down. So I went ahead and fixed that. I mean, it really doesn't matter, I guess, because it has the placards on both sides about keeping your fingers out, but the nuts were on top and I reversed it and put the nuts on the bottom. So I don't know, I think just aesthetically it looks better like that. I don't know that it really matters, but for me it just looks better. So this here is a tight fit to get this in even after you trim it. So I remember on my last one I put in, it was a bit of a snug fit, so I had to get the persuader and just tap that right in there, and then you get your holes lined up, and then we'll insert the push pins. All right, we got our push pins in there. All right, now we're down to putting the skid plate back on. This is our stock skid plate that came off of it. So we're going to replace the stock skid plate with the Yamaha aluminum front skid. So we're going to go ahead and put that on there. Since we're in here doing this, I figured I'd save this project for that. So it's all going to be done at the same time. All right, so we're still going to use the hardware that we took out and saved from the stock skid plate. The only thing we won't use is the shoulder washers. We'll get rid of those. Put the spring nuts on here. We put the threads towards the back. And this is going to go up here like this. And we're going to see what goes on here. Okay, that's going to go like that. We need to do these button heads. We're not going to snug these up until we get all the bolts in case we got to move it a little bit, get all the holes to line up. Now we're going to use the rest of our stock hardware here. Just put that up. Get all the holes lined up. The nice thing about this front skid is you still have the cutouts for your shackle connectors here or tie down points, whichever you want to use them for. And then also underneath there, you still have your hole to drain your front diff. Well, there you go, guys. That is a wrap on the front brush guard install. Pretty easy to do, adds an extra layer of protection, looks pretty awesome. And then also we went with another layer of protection down here with the front skid. I think all in all, it turned out really good. It looks like a really complete package now. If you got any questions, feel free to hit me up. We'll see y'all. Take care. Have a good one.